What's going on? Got David and Andrew here. We're going to be talking a little bit about David's career, where he's located, how to reach him, and then why he made the switch from his previous brokerage, what he saw, what the hype's all about. But for all the people that may not know me, my name's Andrew Vos. I've been doing real estate for 4 years. It's been an incredible 4 years. I was with an amazing company for this whole 4 years. So this is my second company, LPT Realty. Our team has done over 600 transactions in the past 4 years, over 200 million in volume. And I'm just super blessed that I have a lot of leaders and agents around me that help me get there. So thank you for all that. But, a lot of you guys have noticed that, a switch has happened, right? A new disruptor to the disruptor. And I just wanted to kind of highlight why, because a lot of people get information, and they get information from where? Google. They get information from their team leader. They get information from their broker, and then they get information from their friends and family. And not all the information is correct, or it's half of the information. So what's up, David? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Andrew. How you doing?
Good, good. Where are you located?
So Panama City, but my territory is probably the west end of Panama City Beach, like Inlet Beach, and then Santa Rosa Beach area.
Awesome.
30A.
Yeah, Panama City, it's got an interesting history. Went from, spring break, right? Went from spring break. Now, unfortunate, a hurricane, came through kind of.
Where I live, it's still devastated over here. It's just so hard to fathom that something that fast and that quick that came out of nowhere. I mean, I guess not really out of nowhere, but the category it came in on as a 5 just crushed this place.
Yeah.
And it was just something that I don't think anybody was really ready for, because as you go around here, you still see distressed homes, all the trees down and everything.
What's that been like? Yeah, what's that been like selling real estate, and any organizations that you want to toss on here that people can donate to, anything like that? Like what's that experience been like? Because I've never personally been in a hurricane area where it's been that devastating, so I can't relate. I know we've had some scares I'm in Pensacola. We've had some scares this year, but not anything like that, right?
You guys have a lot of, I think, flooding, more of the surge coming in.
Yep.
I actually just got into real estate.
Okay.
Although I've lived here for, I think this summer will be 4 years. I just retired from the Navy. I was an explosive ordnance disposal technician.
Yep. EOD. Love it.
Yeah. EOD. And I did that for 26 years. And I was the training director at the Navy dive school here, and decided that, it was time to walk away and find another career. And I had always been fascinated with real estate. No matter where I went, all over the world, I always would find myself just almost like trolling realtor.com, just looking at properties, just seeing what it was, what the area was about, what things are going for, what, as we say in the business, what's the market bearing? What is the market telling people their homes are worth? And that's always fascinated me. So I got my real estate license. I took the course. The gentleman who took the course, Opie Russ, actually was starting a real estate company called Gulf Life Real Estate. And I went, and my first job was with him. Phenomenal teacher. I mean, he teaches all the courses, the ethics courses, the advanced courses, the brokerage courses, he's certified all the way through. And so his wealth of knowledge was indispensable. But his brokerage was set up for people who had a lot of experience, who already had, their client base. And so that really didn't benefit me that much, because I was so new. And, when you were in the military, you didn't associate really with people outside the military when you were in. It's kind of just that, closed loop. And for 26 years doing that, you're like this close. When, as a real estate agent, you need to be like all the way out here with as many people as possible.
Yeah.
So Damian Callis was in the class, the post-license class that you have to take. And he was talking about, we were actually talking about more commercial real estate at the time. But out of the blue, he called me one day and he's like, "Hey, Dave, there is this company coming in. I'd like you to invite you to lunch, and I want to talk to you about it." And so when I showed up, it was just kind of, I wasn't really sure. There were people from Tennessee. Like, it was not knowing the real estate, I guess, inside business, I guess, as it would be called. I didn't know what to expect, but as soon as the presentation came out, I'm like, oh yeah, this is a no-brainer. I mean, so I know you guys talk a lot about, prospecting and building teams and how to grow, but as a new agent for me, what was incredible was, hey, we have a business builder plan. We have the ability for you to, it's not 100% because you pay, $500 per transaction, capping at 5,000, but after that, it's all yours. And so as somebody who doesn't have a base and is still working, being able to, retain almost all of your income, it's a huge deal for somebody. And then you're still getting all the backside support that all the teams are getting. You're getting, the listing power packs, the marketing, all that stuff, the platforms, with Chime and the AI. It's something that a lot of companies don't just give. And I will say that says a lot about Robert Palmer and the fact that he understands, if my agents succeed, then I'm going to succeed. There's no other way about it, And so why would I want to make everybody pay for something that, one, I'm already doing, I was doing for the agents prior to me taking it down and saying, you know what, I can make the industry better for the agent. Not so much I can make the industry better, but the agents can be better. They can be taken care of better. I mean, the listing power pack is far. I mean, everybody can put you on the MLS. I mean, you can go out to a listing company and get on the MLS. Anybody can have an open house, but not everybody. As soon as you list, in almost 2 days, you have door hangers, flyers, the business cards you have now have that person's home on it, featuring them as you can leave them anywhere, and that's all they see is the home for sale that you want sold.
And it's I just want to touch on that because it's really good. You have the ability to hand them to the sellers, so when they're out with their friends, if they have official business cards of their home, that says a lot, right? Because now you're like getting the seller actively engaged in your marketing. Because a lot of times you have to send them updates, right? But now it's kind of like when you're building a business, and if you seclude your family from your business, guess what happens? They have no idea what's going on. They ask you a million questions. They don't respect your time. But when you engage them in your business and make it a family thing or a relationship or whatever it is, now it's like intertwined. Now they don't question that, you're doing stuff. So I actually like it. I did want to jump back though, because I don't think a lot of people know that for 26 years, you were dealing with bombs, and stuff like that. So I mean, I was in Ranger Battalion. I was a support guy at 7th Group, so I worked a lot with JSOC. So I have immense respect for EOD, 18 Charlies, even though I did some of that, because I was the site exploitation guy at 7th Group. So I'd go out with the teams and we'd watch our partner forces take their little stabber and poke the ground. And we'd all be like, all right, so we're not going to stand too close when you do that. But, just handling of them, having to scan them, make sure there's no tilt devices, all that. And I'm not going to talk like I know everything. I just know like a fraction of what you know. So I just want to talk about that you're a badass and you sent the bombs. So real estate, how is that transition like?
It's funny. I just made a video this morning, and I'm not going to say, I'm not ready to call myself a content creator, but I do have 2 videos made, so no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you are. Yeah, you are. You're creating more content than most people.
Sure. So. I'm creating something. I don't know if it's like good, but I just did a video on who I am, and what I want to bring to a client, and how the correlation of 26 years, 15 of those with at war on 2 different places, and I've been to both numerous times, is the one thing that the military is very good at is teaching people to plan. Teaching people, and especially for EOD, not just planning, but anticipating changes in the plan, because you either quote Eisenhower, who said, I've never had much use for plans, but planning I found indispensable. Or you quote Mike Tyson saying, everybody's got a plan until the first punch lands. Like,
I like that. That's actually where I thought you were going.
Everybody's got a plan to get a punch in their face. Yeah.
Yep. The plan always works out. And the thing it always changes, excuse me. The thing that changes the most though, commo. I'm like, everybody's up on comms. That's like the thing that you can almost 99% of the time we're going to have issues. Commo. Yeah. I don't know, but that's just one
thing. That's why it's one of the big 3: shoot, move, communicate.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not communicating, you're out. You're ineffective. And that's the thing I'm talking about in my video is, I've learned to plan, I've learned to execute, I've learned to anticipate, and I've learned to adapt to change. But the biggest thing that it is with all of those things, no matter what's going on, you have to have timely, relevant information. And then you have to communicate that. And that's what I want to do, that's what I feel like I bring from the military experiences, is if you're not communicating up and down the chain in the military, nothing's going to happen. The same thing with a client. If you're not communicating back and forth what's going on, I never want my client to experience what I did when I was on the other side, buying and selling, is have to call the agent and ask, what's going on? What's happening? Okay, so I've had 1 sale. That's it. And they gave me a review, and I asked them to. And the review was everything I could hope for, because it highlighted everything that I tried to do. They highlighted constant communication. They never were wondering what was going on, anticipating, making sure. People get bad advice all the time throughout the whole process.
Brother, sister, cousin, other realtors. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I actually mentioned that. I was like, look, I know everybody's got the mother, sister, brother, cousins, husbands, realtor, and like, I'm going to do that. But if you get bad information, it hurts the whole real estate environment. And this bad advice was, hey, you don't need a survey. And I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure you do.
Yeah.
And it was more of, and this is where, in the military, you probably experience this a lot. Hey, do we need this? I don't need it. Well, that doesn't mean you don't need it. That just means that person doesn't need it. And so it really goes back to who you ask. And what I want to encourage people to do is always ask your agent. Your agent should be your resource for all information. And if they don't know it, they sure as heck know somebody who does know it. Broker, most of them have friends who are real estate lawyers. That's the easiest way to find out the truth. And that's who you should be using. They're your advocate during the whole process.
Yeah.
And I want to stress that more and more as I finally make more clients is, hey, this is how your agents should be interacting with you.
I love it. And so to kind of fill the gap, so how did you see, from a new agent standpoint, how did LPT tie all into this, right? How did it help with the communication? How did it help you move forward? Is it helping you with marketing? I I know the listing power pack is amazing. By the way, it's free on every listing.
Oh yeah.
You get 168, I think it's 168 items, business cards, riders, stuff like that. Just so you know, it's free on every listing. Want to emphasize that. Then they have other services that you can do digital marketing from at cost, or mailers and stuff like that. But how did you, did it stop at the listing power pack, or was there more to the LPT switch?
I think it was more internally for me, more of, as a new agent, you need as much help as possible. You need, I've only been at one other brokerage, and the advertising was kind of on you. If you wanted to, if you get a client, it's kind of at your expense.
Yep.
And not that I'm saying that's right or wrong. It's just, for a new agent like myself, I didn't know what I didn't know. I don't know marketing in the real estate business like somebody who's very experienced. And I guess the LPT community as a whole is constantly talking and interacting. You got your live videos, you have AJ's, you have Joey DeSains with Limitless Agent. They're always talking, how are we working this? How are we becoming better agents down the line? How are we helping clients, whether it's finding the right home, or how are we better marketing to sell? And that's phenomenal for me, because the agency that I was at, it was, everybody was just kind of scattered. Everybody was already established and had their kind of thing, and they just kept on going on, and they were succeeding. But if you're an agent who, not just, I don't want to say camaraderie, but like the sense of everybody has a single goal of making sure everybody is set up for success.
Yeah. And what I loved, this is what I didn't know until I was actually in, a cloud-based brokerage, was I feel like the collaboration is almost way like tenfold what you actually get at a traditional brokerage, like brick and mortar, because like you said, they're scattered. Here, we're actually all online all the time. This thing can, is a master of distraction, but it's also a great tool to make money with and get your face name out there. So, and we're always got this. If you leave home without this, guess what everybody says? Oh, shoot, I left my phone. And 9 times out of 10, you're going back to get that thing. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So, so the collaboration, what I've noticed, and, commended to my other company that I was with, I mean, I could reach out to anybody there and get the help I needed. Here, it's been the same way. Right. So I appreciate you mentioning AJ, Damian, myself, because I always feel like I'm not providing enough content, and we're just gonna keep ramping this thing up, and we want to continue to collaborate with you guys like you that are not scared to jump on video, because that's important, because a lot of people, I don't think they understand that the last 2.5 years when we were selling is not a representation of how good of a realtor you are.
So
yeah,
I came in at the perfect time for that to end. Like,
yep.
So I got my license in May of last year, and then let's see, the Fed came out and we're like, yeah, let's change it up. Let's start raising rates. And everybody was, worried. Then there was almost like a small little panic of, oh my gosh, the rates are going high. Now, mind you, I've had a 6% interest rate. And I thought, I remember I got 5, and I'm like, I'm awesome. Because I got a 5% interest rate. I mean, they were higher, back then.
Yeah.
And a lot of people forgot that, 2 and 3% was never the norm for a long time. I mean, it was, I guarantee, in the 90s even. If you said, hey, at some point you're going to have a 2% interest rate, they're going to be like, nobody's going to make money off of that.
Yeah.
But coming into the shift, it became more of a, and this is where I think, some of the background comes into play is, not that you're fighting for clients, but you are you have to be better at your job. You have to be a better agent than just, hey, by the way, I have a house over there. You want to buy it? No? All right, you want to buy it? All right, good, let's go. I mean, that's how fast that we're going. Or,
Yeah.
oh, you both want to buy it. All right, somebody give me the best price. You got 24 hours, and then we're going to accept it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great for the sellers, and it's great for the agents, but it's just not realistic in, the long haul.
Yeah.
I mean, that just takes into account the fact that, you can't get a, realtor.com slot. As soon as things went down, every broker's like, oh man, we got to start like working. We got to start going back to the basics, talking, enticing people. And I think one of the biggest things now for the agent is talking to that seller and getting them to understand that the prices that were there 6 months ago just aren't the prices here now.
Yeah.
And that, real estate is an emotional endeavor for people when they buy and sell. And probably the hardest part of, getting somebody as a client when they're selling is trying to get them to understand that emotional price versus the market price. It's a delicate thing. And I think that's probably one of the hardest things that agents are going to have now is before they're like, hey, I want to sell this. Like, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now it's, well, let's look at what's going on. Let's talk about, the market, because, Keller Williams, if it's Brandon, I don't know his last, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Magalas, the guy on YouTube and Instagram that talks a lot about agent interaction. His biggest thing is the market will tell you what your home is worth. If you put your home up for sale and in the first 2 weeks you don't have anybody, you're overpriced.
Yep.
If in the first month you have a showing, you're still overpriced. Like, the market tells you what your house is worth, unfortunately, not, that sentimental value isn't really a value sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's where agents are going to have to, I know I am, even as a new agent, I still have to like comprehend and how to talk to people about the difference of last summer to this summer.
Yeah. And I think what helps a lot, or what helps, me, is if the market's going to change again in our lifetime. It's going to go from a buyer's market to a seller's market. And just so everybody knows, a normal market is one or the other. Just so you know, there's no in between. You're either in a buyer's market, you're a seller's market. There's no in between for nobody. Nobody's not, both sides can't get a deal. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm like, if you're selling in a seller's market, you're going to be buying in a seller's market.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. So what's helped me, and I try to stress this a lot, whether it's agents that just ask me for advice or our team, is don't get away from the basics because the market speeds up or slows down. You just need to stay even keeled with your marketing, your phone calls, your door knocking, your open houses the whole time. Like, it should not change. And, where we kind of, I can admit our weaknesses. When the market was crazy, we weren't regulating the sellers. Like, we need to have some type of control. So we were kind of losing the value on the open houses. Well, if you look at the open houses, people are starting to attend them again. Why? Because Zillow does a really good job at being a consumer-based service. Where do people go to look for open houses? Realtor.com, Zillow, and Zillow probably the number one. And then they go on the MLS, right? But not everybody has access to the MLS. So I'm like, what I'm getting at is, if we never get away from the basics and you always have that foundational, you'll build relationships through any market and you'll just crush it, right? The people that are, and I'm not talking about you because you just got started, right? But I'm people that were with me 2-3 years ago. They're like scrambling. They're like they're trying to create video content. Now they're trying to learn how to do phone calls. We've already been doing that. So the people you're calling, we've already touched base with. They're already in our database somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So if that's what I would stress, going into this market, is that it's going to change again in our lifetime. If you're still a realtor in 8 to 10 years from now, and just be ready. Be ready so you don't have be ready and stay ready so you don't have to figure out how to get ready. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So
there will always be buyers and sellers. I mean,
yeah,
no matter where you go, people have, life happens. Life events happen. You get married, you have a child, you have to transfer. Um, and so there'll always be a market for buying and selling. It's just how the agents look at that market now and how they interact with it. I think that's gonna, I'm lucky in the fact that coming in when I did, all I'm learning is the basics, all the foundational stuff. And so if the market changes, I'll be ready for it. I mean, I personally, if I've already got equity in my house and I have to sell, I'd rather sell in a buyer's market, because that means I can take that equity to the next home that I have that I know I'm going to be able to like gain equity because it's a buyer's market.
Yep.
So
yeah, there's pros and cons, and I'm like, they're like, we want to sell in a seller's market. I'm like, I don't think you understand how the other side works when you're buying, right? So, but yeah, I just wanted to keep this under 30 minutes. I do appreciate your time.
I appreciate you reaching out.
Yeah, and I know we're in the same group. We see each other a lot. We're gonna, virtually. Hopefully, we can meet one day in person. I'd love to get lunch. Plus, now that I know you're a diver, if you still dive, I would like to go diving. I am certified, but not probably as much as you've done. So we gotta meet up to do that. Maybe you can help me figure out why I'm not being able to clear lately. But that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. That's even hard for me. Just because I did a lot of pure O2 diving.
Yeah.
That kind of messes with your eustachian tubes. So Afrin and Sudafed, 30 minutes before you dive, always works.
Afrin and Sudafed. Okay, got it. Well, I appreciate it.
Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
In Panama City, any agents or any clients in Panama City, how can they get a hold of you?
So I am at the demirconnection.com. And then I just started that. I'm still waiting for Google to send me my card so I can register my business page.
It'll get lost a few times. Don't worry. We had that. Yeah.
But the demirconnection.com, David, the RE Life on Instagram and Facebook. The email is dademir@gmail.com. It'll eventually change once, just like yours, I'll get my domain and have my domain as the end for my email. So it's all business related.
Yep.
But yeah, the demirconnection.com is always up and available, and it has the blogs for anything you need to know what's going on in the market, the latest listings, everything.
Cool. I love it. Well, I'll definitely toss you some referrals out in Panama City Beach, because I don't feel like driving that far. It's too far up 98 for me.
Actually, a buddy called me 2 days ago, and he was like, "Hey, I got a job out in Pensacola. It's for the instructing the rescue swimmers. It's a contracted job." And I'm like, that's like really far to drive.
Yeah, it is. And that it's not even on season right now. During season, it would be horrible. Like 2 hours would turn into 3, possibly, right? So
I went to the Andrews Institute for all my surgeries when I got down here. And so driving there in the summer, I would have to leave. I'd try to get my appointments like around 8 o'clock. I'd have to leave here at 4:30 in the morning, because by the time I got to Destin, it was already traffic at early in the morning.
Yep.
And so I was like, man, this is such a long, it's not a long drive, but it's such a long drive.
Yeah. And for people that don't know what the Andrews Institute is, it's a great rehabilitation and orthopedic center, and they got a whole bunch of, but
it is a world-renowned orthopedic center who caters to elite athletes for their surgeries.
Elite athletes and special operation community for the military. So they're like right in our backyard. So if you have any issues, go try to get
it is amazing. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever experienced this, but I walked in the first time and they're like, "Hey, we need to get x-rays," because I had serious hip issues. They're like, you need to get an x-ray. And I'm like, oh man. Because I'm thinking, crap, now I got to go make an appointment. I got to wait. I just lost this appointment. I'm like, okay, like, all right, just go out the door and go across the hall and check in. I'm like, okay. So I walked across the hall. I'm like, I was told I was supposed to get an x-ray. They're like, okay, have a seat. Like 2 minutes later, Mr. Demir, come back. Got the x-ray, went back across, and I was like, I got my x-ray. They're like, okay. 5 minutes later, I was in seeing the doctor, and my x-ray was already on the screen. Like,
yeah.
I was dumbfounded. I'm like, wait, this is possible? Like,
no hurry up and wait. No hurry up and wait there.
No, I'm sorry you have to come back because you don't have an x-ray. So now you got to make an appointment for an x-ray, and that takes 3 months to get one because they're backed up. Like, I was like, oh my gosh. It is a world-class orthopedic surgeon. I mean, Dr. Andrews is world renowned. My doctor, and I don't do team things, but he was the Alabama football team's orthopedic surgeon.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that says a lot. Yeah. Well, yeah, if you need anything, just look up Andrews Institute. I know a couple people that work over there. They love working there. And I know a couple guys that have gone through there and just have nothing but great things to say. Yep.
Yeah.
But David, thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
I know we're going out to crush the day. And if there's anything I could ever do for you, I'd love to. And if you're moving to Panama City Beach or surrounding areas to Panama City, hit up David.
Yeah.
Yep. Nice. I love it.
And every client, I give a engraved cutting board to.
Nice.
So they'll have their name here. So that, because every home needs a really good quality. This is solid block walnut. I call it a lifetime board because if you take care of it, you'll have it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I use a cutting board every week, so maybe I need to hit up you or your guy and get.
Oh no, I make them.
Oh, okay.
I have a wood. D&J Woodworks. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you and I need to talk. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
I gave Anthony for his birthday. I gave him a cutting board.
Nice. Well, I'd love to get one off you. I'd love to get yeah, we'll talk about it. But I want Ranger bat engraved in it, all that stuff. So.
Oh yeah. Cool. On my site, you'll see all the stuff I've done.
What's that?
On my dnjwoodworks.com, you'll see all the things I've made. I have pictures of all the furniture and all that stuff.
Cool. We'll check it out. Well, I appreciate your time. Yeah, I'm excited about LPT. I know you're excited, and let's just help and serve as many people as possible in the home or buying or selling process, and just have fun. So,
take it easy.